Welcome back to this segment of the Costa Rica News Daily. Well, we're going to be sharing today with you about that new digital law that Rebecca and I have been telling you about. We've got an important update and it's good news. So can't wait to share that with you right after this short break. A lot of stuff has been happening in Costa Rica. And, we thought instead of waiting until Sunday to give you that information, we're going to start doing a news segment. We're going to call it the Costa Rica News Daily. And not that we're going to give you that information every day, but we want to be able to give you that information as quickly as that news breaks out so that you can be the first to hear about what's happening. A lot of things recently have been happening. The digital nomad visa, the law to incentivize foreigners to come to Costa Rica, those tax breaks. And we've been trying to give you that information, but we usually wait until Sunday. But instead of waiting till Sunday, wouldn't it be nice to get that story when the news breaks out? Rebecca and I are going to try to give you the breaking news on our Costa Rica News Daily segment. All right, according to the news, on July 13th, Costa Rica actually passed the new law in the second debate. Now, all that's left is for the president to sign it. Of course, they expect that to happen at any time. However, it still will take a couple of months for everything to kind of get into place. Obviously, they got to go to all of the different departments that this new digital law is going to affect, and they got to put the policies in place, the requirements, so that when you actually apply for that new visa as a digital nomad, well, you'll be able to do that. However, there are a few things and a few requirements that you'll have to meet in order to qualify. So let's talk about that. Obviously, as we've been sharing with you, Costa Rica is doing a lot of really good things because they're trying to boost tourism. Everybody knows that this pandemic has really put a bind in everybody's pocketbook. Well, Costa Rica is really pushing things, trying to really make things better for everyone. This digital law has finally passed the second debate. As you know, we shared with you that law to incentivize foreigners to come over here with certain tax breaks, import duties that we talked about in another video. Make sure you check that out. Finally passed and was actually signed by the president, which is going to incentivize. In other words, they want foreigners to come and live in Costa Rica, which is going to allow you to be able to get vehicles, your furniture, all that good stuff. I won't go into the details. We talk about that in another video. Check that out, okay? So they've done that one law because they want you to live here. Well, what about people that don't want to live, but they're traveling? We're talking about digital nomads. Well, now this second law is going to target all of those. So that now that Costa Rica is saying, okay, we talked about people who want to live here, we're giving them tax incentives, giving them breaks. What about the digital nomads? What can we do? So now Costa Rica is saying, hey, for digital nomads, let's do this to incentivize them. And so, one of the biggest or hardest things about coming to Costa Rica is that when you come here, well, you've got a 90-day stamp on your passport, okay? Other countries call it visas. Well, every 90 days, you got to make that painful run to the border. That's no fun, right? And you got to go out and you got to stay a few hours, and some say it's 72 hours, and it's not. It's just you've got to stamp in and stamp out, but they don't want you to just go stamp in, come stamp out. It's a big hassle. They make it more difficult, understandably, because they want you to become a stinking resident if you're going to stay in the country, or now apply for that digital nomad visa, okay? So let's take a look at that. They're doing some really great things. So let's take a look at the digital nomad visa and who exactly qualifies for that. Well, anybody that can show proof of having an average monthly minimum income of at least $3,000 can be approved or apply for that digital nomad visa. Now, if you're wanting to bring your family, you got to have a combined income of $4,000 a month. Now, it's important. Let's just talk about that real quick. let's say that I'm the digital nomad and I make, at least $3,000 a year online. But let's say that my wife, well, she's not a digital nomad per se. She has a part-time job, or she makes at least $1,000 a month. But moving to Costa Rica, she would not be able to continue making that $1,000, but we can prove that we've made up to $4,000, or at least $4,000 in the last year. Well, it's important to note that if you come here, you have to be able to continue making that $4,000 a month. Now, the good thing about this law is that if you can prove that you are making at least $4,000 a month, you can get approved to have that digital nomad visa, which means you can stay for a year without having to do that painful border run every 90 days. That's great news. And what's even better is that you can actually get it extended for another year. That's great news. So in reality, with that extension, you can stay for 2 years with that digital nomad visa. However, in order to get it extended, you've got to be able to prove that you stayed in Costa Rica for at least 180 days in that first year. So that should be pretty easy. So they're not making it very difficult for you. Digital nomads love to travel. Well, you want to travel and you want to go to other countries, as long as you was in Costa Rica for 180 days, fantastic, you can extend it for another year. So that's great news, but you still have to prove that while you were here, you were still able to make that $4,000 a month for a family, $3,000 a month for an individual. It's important to note that not only do you have to meet that minimum requirement as far as finances go, but you also have to have traveler's insurance. So you've got to have some sort of insurance that's going to keep you covered for the whole period that you're here. And you can go to our forum, and our forum will tell you exactly, well, who's got the best deals, or who's got the best prices on traveler's insurance. All the links are in the description below so that you can join our free forum and get that information, okay? Well, what is it going to cost to apply for this visa? So there is going to be some sort of one-time cost to apply, and there's also going to be a processing fee. That's yet to be announced, but I'm sure it's not going to be too terribly much, and it's going to be good news for all the digital nomads. Now, what are some of the benefits for this? Well, as I said, once you're approved, you get to stay here for a year. You can extend it for a second year. And you're creating this income online, and Costa Rica is not going to tax your income. Now, that's important news because word on the street, I don't have anything official, but Costa Rica has been talking about changing to a worldwide tax, just like the United States, where the United States taxes you no matter where you make your money. So I'm a digital nomad. I make money all over the world. However, Costa Rica doesn't tax me on any of that, but the United States taxes me no matter where that money comes from. And Costa Rica kind of been talking about doing that. I think that would be really bad on their part. However, that's another story for another time. So the important thing is, hey, if you apply and get accepted for the digital nomad visa, they're not going to tax your combined income of $4,000 for a family and $3,000 for an individual. While you're here on that digital nomad visa, you will be able to drive with your current driver's license so long as it is still valid. So you want to make sure that if your driver's license is going to expire in that year or 2 years that you're here, do whatever you have to get it extended prior to coming to Costa Rica. So you will be able to drive. That's awesome news, okay? And you'll also be able to open up a bank account. Obviously, they want you to deposit that money in their bank and spend that money while you're here in Costa Rica. And having a bank account will make that a little bit easier. Hey, obviously, it's not required. For many years, Rebecca and I didn't have a Costa Rican bank account. We do now because we love to pay stuff online. And there's quite a few things that you can pay online. Not everything, but it is getting better all the time. Now, that's the story on the digital nomad visa. Now, we've decided to start doing these news stories so that, as things are happening, we can try to give you that news. And we're calling this the Costa Rica News Daily segment so that we can give you that information. So make sure that you do subscribe so that you can find out when the next news alert comes out and all the other interesting stories that we have on our channel. Because this Sunday on our live, make sure that you go to the link below so that you can sign to get a reminder. If you're watching the recording, go to that live and watch it, because in that Q&A, we're going to be talking about some of the recent news updates. Matter of fact, Costa Rica is not making you have traveler's insurance if you have what? The COVID vaccine? Well, how does that affect you and others? We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about that new law to incentivize people to come. We're going to be talking about quite a few breaking news stories. And as always, after we answer those questions, guess what? We're going to answer any and all questions that you might have about living in Costa Rica. We love it here, and today we're in beautiful San Jose having a great time checking out a few things, but we look forward to seeing you on our live. Until then, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and we'll see you next time.